You good?
I'm fine, man.
All right.
I'm all right.
Well, welcome to the Gyaff, Keevin Alicock. I cannot tell you, and I keep telling you this all the time, but you were one of the guys that I was dying to get on the podcast, and big fan of you, big fan of your sport and your discipline, and thank you so much for coming. How are you?
I'm doing quite okay, bro. It's an honor. Thank you for inviting me here. First of all, I'm happy to see you again.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I luckily, so I had gotten your number, and I had messaged it a couple of times, but I realized that it was like, I think it was an old number or something because the person kept telling me, this is not Keevin. I don't know who you are.
It's probably one of the old numbers.
Yeah.
That I
And
had.
then I was looking around for it, and then I finally saw you in gym that one day, and,
Yeah.
we were able to connect. So this is amazing. So how have you been? Like, what's your, have you been like training, a pretty busy training schedule lately?
Yeah, actually, we did. I went to Suriname a few days ago to get my visa, Italy, for the Olympic trials.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm heading off, and I think it's going to be around the 28th
Okay.
this month
So this is like, trials is to qualify for
to
Olympics?
qualify for the Olympic Games.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have two. We have one this month, and we have one in May.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we get into your whole career and stuff like that, I have a ton of questions loaded. How did you get into boxing? First of all, like, is that something you grew up doing? Is it in your family? Like, what sort of got you into this sport?
Okay. So my dad has 20 kids. Had 20 kids. He passed away, and all of my brothers, or most of them, used to box, and it's always there in the family. My dad liked fighting. He was never a boxer. I always surprised that how did he love boxing so much, and and it's he trained most of my brothers at that time. I was just a child, and I always know that it was something that is inside of me that wanted to come out instead of putting in something. If you understand, it's more like a gift from God.
Yeah.
And I always said to myself, I want this boxing. I want to do boxing. But my mom always beating me, pulling me out of the gym. School time, I would go to the gym, and then she would come there looking. I trained in my school clothes.
Really?
That's how bad I love boxing.
Which gym did you train at?
It was RP Eagles boxing gym at that time
Where is
in
RP?
Albistown.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so because I was born and raised there too.
Okay.
So yeah, and yeah, so most of my brothers, they were boxers, and some turned professional, but they stopped as now when because of their family and stuff like that. So and then working and stuff, and at that time you don't have much support, and growing up in Albistown, and at that time for me it was tough, so
All Boys Town has produced a number of
good fighters.
amazing fighters.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
It happens all over the world. If you go to places like that where people don't have much, they're hungry for something. They desperately want to come out of there. And if they find that this gift can take me out, or this instrument can take me out of here, I will hustle to craft it, to fight and to provide for my family. So that urge always was there.
Yeah.
For most fighters, not having to go back home to a meal when you finish fighting, it makes you want to fight even more when you go into the ring. So I think that's one of the things that help a lot of people or sportsmen in the sport of boxing to become to reach far. I wouldn't use the word successful because not many I can say that are successful at this moment that I know of. They achieve certain things, but I mean, no one is perfect. They didn't have the discipline to keep that, So yeah,
Once you get like a youngster into the gym, right? I mean, like, I'm assuming that that's a challenge in itself to say. I mean, I'm sure some people just get the hang of it and they're like, okay, I want to be a part of this community. But when to sort of mold a young career, and especially with boxing, takes a lot of discipline.
Yeah. It does.
So how does a youngster in boxing how are they able to get that mentorship and guidance so they can continue training and show up and that stuff? Are there like a lot of coaches there? How does that work?
Well, there are coaches there. There are some pretty good coaches, like my coach, Seaboard Blake. he loved the sport of boxing, and he's been contributing so much. He would leave his family at home just to come out, and I don't think he know how much a blessing he is, to many. So, I actually transferred from one gym to another. I used to train with a guy named James Walcott, and I was like about 13 years old, and then I leave from there and I went to Coach Seabird. I find more discipline there, but the love, the passion, because the drive behind it, like he would come and wake you up from your house.
Oh, really?
That's how I achieved my the Commonwealth silver medal, and that was my first games.
Wow. How old were you?
I was like about 15. Yeah.
Oh, no way.
And every morning he would come and knock on the door. Champ, let's go. I'm tired. He said, "But you gotta go."
To go do road work?
Yeah, you gotta go. 4 a.m. we get up. Even if I'm tired, you still gotta go. If the rain is falling, you gotta get warm, and then when your skin wet, you gotta go out inside of the rain, and that's how we hit. So he would be on his motorcycle and I would be running. So the coaches really help, but I find myself with, try to impart the, my knowledge within the youngsters that are there at the moment, telling them to hold on. And I know a lot of them look up to me, and, seeing the place that I was born and raised and how, God blessed me, so yeah, it takes a lot when you come into the gym first, because you don't play boxing. You play all the other sports. You play football, hockey, squash. You play that. It's a different world when you go in there. You never know what's going to happen. At any point in time, you can lose your life. You can lose your memories. You can forget who's your mom. I've faced real hard hits in the sport of boxing, but I'm going to tell you why I love it. Not just because it's a gift from God, but it teaches me also not just to fight inside of the ring, but it teaches me also to fight outside of the ring. So when life hits you hard, you got to get up and go. And when situations comes, you got to keep going. As hard as someone's going to hit you in the ring, and you're going to forget where you are for like a couple seconds, life is going to knock you hard, and you feel like you want to give up your own life. You understand? And, that's one of the reasons that, I'm so strong.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't really understand. I mean, they see it as a viewer, like myself. Mm-hmm. You can see it and appreciate it from the outside, but once you've never been there, it's something hard to comprehend. And
but it's easy to talk, though.
100%. Oh, yeah.
It's easy to say.
We love all the trash talk, and we love to talk a big game. Guyanese especially.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's crazy. My first, if you don't mind me sharing a quick story with you, just
go ahead.
This is how I first learned really what not even a fraction of what but like what boxing is about. I had a trainer. Well, Pitbull.
Pitbull,
Raymond,
yeah.
Great
He's
guy.
a good man.
Yeah, great guy.
My boy.
So I used to do some training with him. We used to be on the pads and stuff, doing fundamentals, and I really got into it. And of course, I love the sport. And I was always pushing him, Raymond, let we do some sparring. And he's like, yeah, we can get the sparring. So we sparred like a couple times, but nothing like heavy. He was going real easy.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, let's maybe pick it up. And not to say we're going to hurt anybody, but we just kind of like we do the limitations before with sparring. We just do 1-2s and you can't throw more. And then one day we were going at it, and he just we singing. And he's very fast, right? So he's just popping me out, right? I'm just thinking about, right? And Raymond is these blind in one eye, right?
Yeah.
So I'm moving over to the bad side. So, right? So I did that, and I probably maybe connect like once or twice. And bro, this is when I realized like headshots are nothing compared to when you get work to the body.
Yeah.
Because he start going up, and then when my guard go up, he just started laying into me, right? And bro, I couldn't laugh or cough for like 3 weeks, and it was totally my. And by the way, I loved it, right?
Yeah.
But I remember my mother-in-law was like laughing at me because every day I got like ice on my arm. But it just it was such a I was like, wow, imagine you're training and you're doing this. Like obviously not sparring every day, but like this is like the kind of work you get in, on your body, and and then you got to get up and do it again, you know?
Again and
Like that
again.
demoralized me for a little bit. I appreciated it.
Yeah.
And I'm still a huge like fan of
Yeah.
the sport, but like it was like, wow, I could never do this.
Yeah.
I don't think I could mentally hang on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it takes a lot. You know, you
Yeah.
have to be mentally strong, physically strong, and most importantly, spiritually strong.
Really.
And I think that's what a lot of athletes are lacking: the spiritual strength.
What do you mean by spiritual strength?
You know, like for me, you know, most people think, I mean, without hard work, you can't get anything. You could never be successful. You know, but praying does the job. Makes the job easy. It makes the fight easy, because I've learned to trust in God my whole life. You know, and if I tell you that I did it on my own, I'll be lying. I remember this one interview that I was doing. I was fighting the Caribbean Development Championship right home here. And this guy, I think it was Akeem Green, interviewed me, and he said, I fought a Trinidadian and I fought a guy from Barbados too. I won the tournament. And he asked me, he said, Allicock, how you does it? How do you do it? You know? And because I fought with my right hand, my right wrist, the bone was chipped off.
Oh, no
And
way.
I was training with one hand. I'll show you the video. With one hand for 2 weeks straight with my coach. And because, that's the passion I got for it. I wanted to go and represent my title. There was a guy that was training, that they could replace me. He was on standby. And it's funny. I'll share the story with you. I went to the doctor. His name is Legal, Dr. Legal. He's always be around the boxing and stuff to look us after and so. And I went to him. He said, Allicock, you can't fight. I said, I can't fight. I want to fight. I have to fight. So I went back home and I was training. I did the x-ray. You can see the bone chipped off. And then before the fight, I went back to him. I said, call the president. That's Mr. Steve Ninfall. He's also the director of sports now. I said, call the president and tell him that I'm fit to fight. He said, you're going to get me in trouble. I said, tell him. I have to fight. This guy can't represent my title. And I went. And the first round, I started. And then, boom. I can feel my hands growing in the gloves. So much pain. And then I go again. Boom. Just try to numb it. You understand? I fight under some pressure. I fought with the injury for years. Going out overseas and represent Guyana. I had an injury in my hip too. And, I get hit real hard. Couldn't breathe. I get hit to the chin one time and forget where I was. And it wasn't strength that brought me back. I said, God, you didn't bring me this far to shame me. You understand? Yeah, I said, give me the strength to fight out. And I remember saying this when I walked back to the corner. When coach threw the water in my mouth, it kept coming out back because I couldn't swallow. That's how hard I get hit. And I said, God, release the lion from the den now. And from that second round, the fight changed. I was in Bolivia at that time, the CSC Games. I won bronze there. And it was pace from there. I didn't really care how the fight would have ended, but I know that I had a fight. From the time this guy hit me and he couldn't put me down, and God gave me that second chance, then I can't waste that time, because not many survive from shots like that. Yeah. And I start pressing. So, all my life I've trusted in God. I said I cannot do it on my own. This is where faith comes and play a tremendous role in my life. Even when I know I can cross this pond on my own, I said, God, I can't. It's not that I'm lack of faith, but I just want you to accompany me.
So you're saying that even when you take big shots and you're concussed, sometimes you kind of, and I know you're very spiritual and have a lot of faith.
Yeah.
But the physical and mental part of you has to just go into almost is it just a fight for survival kind of mode?
Yeah. That's what happened.
You kind of run on something beyond your immediate
Yeah. So I said, God, this can't happen. Because when you're strong spiritually, it overpowers overpowers the body.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Yeah, you don't need physical strength anymore.
Do you think that your style of fighting is it more of like a do you feel like you press the pace more, or when you're fighting you sort of are you counter a lot more?
No, I press the pace
You press
most
the
of the
pace.
times.
The
But
fights I've seen,
yeah, I'm always
press,
going.
yeah,
I'm always
you-
going. But I'm a very skillful fighter. Like, you know, when I went to the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, I fought a guy who went to the Olympics twice. That was his last fight he fought. And
Was that the Sri Lankan guy? That's the
no,
fight I
that's
saw.
no, the guy from Kenya.
Okay.
And I beat this guy so comfortable. Like, it was easy. I didn't even feel like I was fighting.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't feel like I was fighting, you know. And I was boxing all the time. I wasn't fighting. I wasn't going forward. And like my feet, my hands was so fast. Even to the commentator, he said Allicock like jet fluid. So you know what we're talking about, you know.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So I can fight when the time comes for me to fight, and I can box when the time comes.
Explain to me that difference, because I hear this a lot. You know, I told you I'm a big fan, and I hear the pros talking about this a lot. Like, you know, when you gotta, when they're fighting good boxers, they say this other guy has to make it a fight. You know, he can't box with him. Like, he gotta go in there and get rough. And to you, what's the difference between like fighting and boxing? Like, obviously, boxing is the more fluid dance, it's the sweet science, you know.
Yeah.
But then the fighting is kind of more imposing your will. But like, what kind of aspects does that carry? Like, for example, like in your opinion.
So like, depends on the fighter that you're fighting.
Yeah.
So let's say, for instance, the fighter is a good boxer. You know, like for me, a lot of people would say go after him and fight. I've did that many times, and you know, the fight didn't go the way that I wanted to. Because if a guy is skillful fighting backwards, he's not skillful fighting forward. So for me, sometimes they said fight the boxer, but I box the boxer. So you can outbox him because he's not accustomed to coming forward. He's not a fighter. If he's a boxer, you can't fight him. You understand? You gotta box him. You gotta try to match his speed. You gotta try to counter fight with him. Because if you go in there, you're accustomed to fighting everybody is coming towards him. So it's easy for him. You're accustomed to moving. You're accustomed to keeping a perfect range. You understand? So like for me, if I'm fighting a good boxer, I box him. And that's what I did. And that's how I beat them. And if I'm fighting a good fighter, sometimes I fight, depends on my condition. Or when I go in there and I feel like, hey, this guy doesn't have as much powers to knock me out. You understand? I take the chance. I said, let's go.
Yeah.
And especially once the crowd is on the feet, oh boy. We
charge
go,
you up.
Yeah, we go down, you know, especially when I'm hearing the Guyanese voice at the back and, you know, everyone is screaming and stuff. So it helps me to keep going, keep pressing, keep fighting. And also, you know, sometimes in the ring you reflect on where you're from and what you have to go back home to at that time. And, you know, it's funny, you know.
Yeah.
It's funny but kind of touching, you know, because this is one of the reasons I never get carried away. I always stay humble and disciplined. Imagine going to Chile or one of the big countries, and you're sleeping in a 5-star hotel, comfortable bed, and then you have to go back home, and you're not gonna rest like that, you know. Yeah, it's kind of deep, you know. I'm getting emotional as I'm telling you. Sometimes when I go to the hotel and I would see a nice, comfortable bed, I take the blanket off and I lie down on the ground because that's what I know about. This is what I got to go home back to. That's why I'm different. You don't find me mixing. I mean, I got respect for everyone. I'm not saying I'm perfect or I'm the best because no man is. But because of where I was born and raised and the situation that I was in.
Tell me about that.
You know, it's leaving knowing that you got to leave the money that you're getting to go spend to pay your rent behind. Like, for instance, when I go into Colombia or these different countries, I got to take the money that they give us on the airport and send it back home so that my mom could pay the rent. so that my mom could look after the house. And sometimes I travel with $10 US, $20 US, and I'm going sometime on the other side of the world. But that doesn't matter. You know, the money doesn't matter. You know, it's knowing that, you know, everything is going to be okay with my mom when I leave at that time, you know. And that's what kept me grounded. And I stuck to my task. And when the mission is not accomplished, when I go out there, I have to come back home to the same thing. And when the mission is accomplished, I still have to go back to the same thing. You know? So I always focus, because we're gonna enjoy ourselves here, and then when we go back home, you gotta worry about where the next dollar is coming from. And you gotta go to training again and not knowing when you're gonna eat a proper meal, you know.
Is there is there any financial opportunities for you with regards to boxing? I mean, it's one thing to compete in events and get these one-off opportunities. You get your per diems, your stuff like that, when you represent Guyana. But, you know, in terms of, you know, this is taking up your life. So what is the vision you see where it can perhaps become a bit more sustainable? And I know you want to keep your humble beginnings and stuff like that, but at the same time, you know, you also want to set yourself up for life after boxing.
Yeah.
So what's your plan?
Well, you know, I'm into construction stuff now, so I got my, you know, I register my business, you know, I got a few contracts already. So, you know, beside boxing, I make sure that, you know, that money is still coming. So, because you can't rely on boxing all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, at some point in time, you can follow the race sooner or later. Like I said, you never know what's going to happen, you know, but the focus is to go to the next Olympics. By God's grace, get a goal. I mean, that will help to, you know, boost things and turn professional, which I'm making my debut in 3 months.
Oh, really? Where?
Yeah, right home.
Oh, no way.
We're going to talk about that. It's going to be nice.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Before we talk about that, how old are you?
I'm 24.
Oh, wow.
I'm young.
Yeah, you're young.
Yeah.
What is the difference between like professional and amateur? You're obviously on a professional circuit, but I mean, how does just the label of professional change your career?
I mean, you start fighting for a little bit more money, or a lot of money, you could say, because
So like sanctioned events.
yeah.
Okay.
So like amateur boxing actually has a lot of money right now too.
Okay.
Like when you go to the world's championship, the men's world championship, you can fight for 50 million Guyana dollars as an amateur fighter.
Oh, nice.
You can fight for 100 million Guyana dollars. That's the money that is coming into amateur boxing. But there is like some specific type of games. You can't go to every games and get these stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like the Golden Belt Series, they have a lot of money there. Like I mentioned, the World Championship and some other tournament. You know, the president of GABA is actually doing a great job. You know, plugging, because he understands that, you know, fighters come out here to fight for something.
Yeah.
You know, to take back something home to their family. And for a number of years, boxers, even before my time, you know, all the boxers been fighting for nothing, just the medal that you go and you hang up on your shelf, and you're not getting anything from that. You know, you just win a medal, you come back home, and that's it. Yeah, you get recognized, you go into the papers 1, 2, 3 days, and then you do an interview, and that's it. No one knows until you fight again.
What division do you fight in?
Right now, I'm fighting in featherweight. It's like 127,
Oh, that's like 127. What do you walk around at?
130.
Really?
Yeah.
No way. So then the cut's not hard for you.
No, it's not. Sometimes it's difficult, you know, it depends on if you start late. Because like that was one of the things many nights. I mean, people don't see behind the scene, and this is one of the things that I'm planning on doing. You know, make sure I get my cameras set up and let people see. It's not just, you know, Bella Roses when you go out there and fight.
Yeah.
You have to see the days when the sleepless nights. I'm talking about starving.
Yeah.
Just to cut your weight, 2-3 days you have to go dry.
What's the most you ever had to cut?
I came down from 129 to 112.
No way.
I'm telling you, in Australia, at the Gold Coast. All right, let me give you the story. So what happened is that, remember when I went to the Youth Commonwealth Games in Bahamas? I fought at 52 kg, right? It's like 112. And when I was preparing for the Senior Commonwealth Games, which kept in the Gold Coast of Australia. So, but it was a mistake. I don't know how they made it, but it happened. So the GOA submit the same weight. They didn't change the weight because I went to fight bantamweight, which is 120 to 124. So they submitted the same weight that I fought a couple years ago, 4 years.
No, what?
So when I reached to Australia, when I got there, the people said, Mr. Allicock is fighting 52 kg. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm standing in the line of the bantamweight. And they said, no, Mr. Allicock is over here. I was like, no, I'm not fighting 52. I fought 52 at the Youth Commonwealth Games. I'm at the Senior Commonwealth Games now. So, yeah, it was...
And they obviously wouldn't let you change
so
that.
I had an option, though. They said to me, it's not my fault. But, if I want, I can try to make the weight, or I could just relax. And I took that task.
What?
And I made that weight in like about 4 days.
So you went from 129
129, 129, yeah.
to 112
12 in like 3 to 4 days.
Jesus.
I got so fine. Let me share this story with you. So we had to lose the weight as fast as we can. We had like about 3 days, me and my coach. He said, what do you want to do? I said, let's do it. Because that's on my mind state. It's a challenge for me. It's a fight for me. It's going to help me to get better. And we start. I was in the sauna till my skin was smoking. I had no more sweat. So know what was going on with me at that time. We used the sauna and we do a lot of running, a lot of skipping, and sometimes I'm eating 5 single peas. There are many athletes that can testify about this. Like 5 single peas I'm eating in Australia. 2 pieces of leaves. That's what I'm eating. 1 single slice of carrot, a little, like this is the size of the beets that I'm eating. So, and then I go back to bed. Sometimes when I'm sleeping, I jump out of my sleep because my body is calling for food. Like, after a time, if you don't eat, you start like going delirious, right? And it started happening to me like the night before the fight. Like 12 o'clock, I remember, because it's day in Australia and it's night here, the difference, right?
Yeah.
So it was night there, and I jumped out my bed, and like my heart was like beating so fast.
Your body thinks it's dying.
Yeah,
that's
like,
why.
and I couldn't sleep. I had to go downstairs, and guess what I did? I had like this little candy bar thing. I had to suck it and keep spitting out. So if I eat an apple, I have to chew the apple, get the juice, and spit out the ox. And that's how I train myself. That's how I lose a lot of weight too. So I don't really consume. The only thing I consume is liquid. So if I'm eating, let's say like I'm using beef, I don't swallow. I just try to get the juice from it and I spit it out. So the morning of when I was going to the weigh-in, my coach literally had to hug me, to walk with me,
to hold you
because
up.
I wasn't finding my legs. And I remember I told him, I said, go, before we reached to the weigh-in, I said, go to the dine-in and get me a cup of coffee, Milo. And we cannot allow the people to see us or see me in that condition. Remember, doctors are there to check you, right?
Yeah.
And I literally had to brace myself on a wall, walking, going to the weigh-in. I had to make up my mind. I was like a cripple just trying to walk again. I had to make up my mind so that I could, program my body and said, hey, I'm walking from here to that door.
Yeah.
And when I reach to the door, I can't go farther. I have to do it again, repeatedly. And when I reach on the scale, before I went to the doctor and I sit, I can't remember what he was asking me, but I was saying yes. Like I couldn't pick up anything. And he said, okay, you're good. You're finished. And I said, okay. And he said, you can go. But I'm not getting it. I'm trying to make my mind up to stand up. So remember, I have to pretend if something go wrong. So like when I get up, like I'm shaking. So I'm trying to talk to him because I'm putting my mind, to talk to this guy now. I was like, what's wrong with this chair? But nothing is wrong with this chair. It's what's wrong with me. I didn't have the strength to stand. And I was shaking I was like, hey, what's wrong with this chair? But I'm pretending something is wrong with the chair. So I made my mind up. And when I get on the scale, I was rocking back and forth because I couldn't stand still, and I got on the scale and the guy said, what's wrong with you? I said, I'm okay, I'm fine. He said, okay, you can't be shaking like this. And he said, you sure? And he keep watching at me, but I know he's the doctor, right? Mm. And then eventually I get off to the scale. And as soon as I get the Milo from coach, I feel like life running back into me.
So you obviously made the weight.
Yeah, I made the weight.
How much under?
I actually went 51.6.
Okay.
To be exact, yeah.
To make 52.
To make 52. Damn. I actually go under the weight.
And then
I got so fine. I it's funny. This one time I walk, there was a mirror that was there in the room. And when I walk and I look at my scale, I jumped.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, It's like I got so fine, but that all of this, that's what makes you a champion.
But Keevin, how long this is Commonwealth, right?
Yeah.
How long between weigh-in to competition do you have to rehydrate?
The same day. So let's say fight is tomorrow. If I get to the country on the 4th and the fight is on the 6th, I have that day to make the weight. So I have to keep starving until that time.
No, sorry. I meant once you weigh in.
Yeah, you fight the same night. In the morning we weigh in, we
so
fight.
Like a couple hours.
So good. So it depends. Because let's say we go to the World Championship. We're talking about the worlds. There's thousands of boxers there.
Yeah.
And boxing starts from 12. So when you weigh in at 6 in the morning, sometimes we use the bus, 1 hour drive to go. Excuse me. You gotta take 1 hour out of your time, and you're trying to get a little bit of rest. Then you gotta eat something before you go to bed, which is breakfast. If you don't walk with something at the weigh-in, which most time I do, and so when you get back home, you barely get 1 hour rest. Mm. And in the night, you didn't sleep properly. So,
yeah,
all of that happens. And then you're fighting at 12. But most of the time, I pray to, hey, God, listen, let me fight in the afternoon so I can get some more rest. Because your rest, don't care what you eat, your rest is important. Rest is important.
Yeah.
Because you could eat as much as you want. Once you don't sleep, you're still going to fight tired.
That's crazy.
Because the energy, you're thinking the energy of the food is going to keep you up. The nutrients of the food is going to keep you up. No. I don't care what coffee you drink. I don't care if you don't get good rest, you can't fight good. You can't perform well because your body is going to be literally tired because night made for rest. Mm-hmm. And if you don't get a good night rest, then it's hard.
Not to mention the whole jet lag thing you in Australia.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, yeah.
How much did you manage to put back on? I mean, even if you put back more, do you still have to weigh again before the next fight?
Yeah. So if you fight in the next day, let's say I'm weighing in the morning. I was starving all the time. I'm weighing in the morning. I'm fighting tonight or I'm fighting in the afternoon. You gotta. If you're fighting the next day, you gotta cut the weight again.
Yeah.
So that happened to me in Bahamas. Mm-hmm. Whereby I'm finished fighting, I have to fight the next day. I gotta go skip again. Mm. And sometimes you only can eat one time. You can only have a solid breakfast. You gotta miss lunch because you don't want to fight. You feel sluggish when you go inside of the ring. When you're too full. Yeah. It's not good.
These Commonwealth is 4 rounds, 3 rounds, 3 rounds, 3 minute rounds.
3 minutes.
You usually fight just 3 rounds.
Yeah, 3 rounds. Yeah, but so going to pro, I'm either gonna fight 4 or 6.
Why? How come just 4 or 6?
Because that's where you start when you're making your debut.
Gotcha.
And then you keep going up to 8, and then you go to 10 and 12.
Yeah. Does the game switch significantly in terms of your whole methodology towards training and when you're moving up in terms of rounds, like when you got to fight 8 to 10 rounds versus 4 to 6?
You train more longer, but you kind of work at a slow pace. But for me, most boxers I saw went over to professional, they kind of start fighting too slow. For me, mm-hmm. they fight they don't know how to fight because they know that they have a good amount of time that they can go about, and then you can fight. It's 4 rounds. It's not 3 rounds anymore. You can take your time. I think it's 4 minutes per round instead of 3. So, for me, I want to keep the same pace.
Contrary to that, though, I mean, if you come, you're obviously, you push pace really hard. So, if you gotta maintain that over 10 to 12 rounds, you know, are you confident you could carry that for that long?
Because that's what I want to do. Because, you know, when you come to see me fight, you must always talk about it after. You mustn't be comfortable. You must be able to knock down your drink and something because, you know, the excitement, you know? Yeah. So that's what I want to bring to the professional world.
So let's talk about that now. You know, your sort of professional career. You're gonna start this in 3 months, and this is at an event here.
Yeah. So
tell me about the event. Because by the way, where can I find out when boxing is? I want to go, and every time I keep asking people, they're like,
I got
an event happened the other day."
I got you. So I'll let you know what's up, and you just let me know, you and how much people are coming, and I'll set a table for you. Fantastic. Every time I get boxing, I got you. Don't worry.
Thank you.
So
you don't even need. I'm there regardless. But do they post when the events are?
Yeah, they sometimes. But and that's one of the problem too. You know, they post it, but sometimes they post it right before or 1 week before instead of keep advertising it and keeping it rolling on the news and stuff. They post it, but
you guys always pull a big crowd though.
Yeah,
usually.
Yeah. I mean, Allicock is fighting.
No doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to get a big crowd.
So tell me about the event.
So it's gonna be this guy Kulibuli, Elton Dari?
Yeah.
So he's fighting. He and
Tall
Dexter
guy, right?
Marks. Huh?
Tall guy?
Oh, short guy.
Short guy. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He
I'm thinking about someone
fought
else.
a couple months ago here.
Okay.
And he's fighting Dexter Marks. I think it's for the second time. And I think it's gonna be in the stadium.
National Stadium.
National Stadium.
Oh, no way.
Or it's gonna be in Everest Ground.
Okay.
It's going to be big. I think they're bringing in some Bollywood stars and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's going to be big. It's going to be real big. It's going to be real nice. So I'm making my debut on that card.
So it's obviously a sanctioned card.
Yeah. It's going to be nice, like real nice. A lot of fighters are going to come from all over the world. We have like about 8 professional fighters, I think, from here already. I spoke to a few guys that are fighting on the card, so I'm just suggesting that's the number for so far. But it's going to be exciting for me too because, making my debut home. And I get to perform in front of the people that I love, so.
You know who you're fighting?
Well, they're working on a guy from overseas, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, for example, an event like this, how do those negotiations work in terms of, do you have to have a promoter and a manager?
Yeah, but like for me here, I don't really think I'm going to use anybody. It's not because, one thing I do, I look and I learn. And, everyone, from the time you don't have the same vision as I do, I don't think that we can work, I mean, I have respect for you if you're a promoter or you want to get involved in the business. But, like, for instance, I just don't want to fight and be a world champion. It's a difference. I want to be in the Guinness Book of World Record where the legends lie. So it's a different level. It's not about how much world title we can achieve. It's about what can we do and be remained, go into the book of, the world record book.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a different level. It's not about, hey, let's focus on how much million we can get. It's about how long we can last in this game.
So then in that note, who pays you in this
So
event?
the manager for the promoter actually, which is Elton Dari, he's actually promoting his car too.
Okay.
And he's fighting too, And so he called me, we had a talk on the phone and because he's Army based, right?
Okay.
Excuse me. And so we had a talk. He told me the price, and I said, okay, no problem.
Okay, gotcha. So they'll make you an offer.
Yeah, they made me an offer. I fight on the card.
Okay.
I'll give you. He said, depends how much round the guy want to fight, 6 or 4. It doesn't matter. I want to fight. I don't care who it is,
And the money for these events come from where? Like they'll have like sponsors or?
Well, the promoters know where the money comes from.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, promoters are dealing with that. Gotcha.
Yeah, okay. So they have to, they have to deal with that.
Yeah.
But they got to make sure that all the boxers that they are into fight get paid.
Definitely. Yeah. The reason I'm asking, and I'm just so interested to know how this works because when I look at professional boxing, and obviously there are these massive promoters that foot the bill but they get back the money on the pay-per-views and the sponsorship and all this stuff.
Well, it's actually streaming on this TV network, Guyana TV network, something like that. Guyana Free TV. It's going to be streaming live. So you could download the app. I don't know if you can catch it in the camera.
Yeah. Will you send me the picture? I'll put it up.
Yeah.
I'll put it up on
okay,
screen.
no problem.
Yeah.
I'll send you the picture.
Yeah.
So if you download this app on your TV, if you can't make it to the fight, you can see it streaming live.
But dude, I'm there. The viewers could download it.
Yeah, no problem.
I come in, yeah. So yeah, you're making your debut here.
It's
and
listen, it's gonna be exciting. I want to say this to you guys because I'm gonna do something that night that is gonna be so entertaining. Besides me fighting, well, that's one thing by itself. It's gonna be crazy. I'm gonna always do what I do. Perform and give people something to talk about after the fight. But like, you guys need to come out because it's gonna be a show like, when they had the McGregor and the Mayweather show. It's gonna be something like that.
yeah.
But we'll talk after this. I'll share some insight to you. Don't worry.
100%. Do you feel pressure like in terms of when you fight? You obviously have your style of fighting, but and you love the energy and you love entertaining and showmanship.
Yeah.
Does that ever come at a cost where you potentially open yourself up to damage, or like moments of like you give maybe the next guy too much to deal with, and that puts you at risk? How do you sort of reconcile those two things, entertainment versus getting the job done?
Well, once you enjoy it, that's what I learned. And once you love it, because if you go in there to fight only, then you're gonna get yourself in trouble. So the job becomes easy. Anything that you're doing, once you love it, it's gonna become easy. If you love doing this like you do, it's easy for you. You can sit here. You're not gonna watch at the time and where you have to go. You love doing it. You're not gonna watch how long it. You're not gonna. It's not gonna bother you how long it takes. So for me, when I get into the ring, I can entertain and I can be serious at the same time. I could go to war, but I'm enjoying the war. If you understand,
Yeah,
it's not a war
100%.
that I'm scared of. It's a war that, hey, this is what I want. Like, say in my mind, even though I'm getting hurt, but like it excites me, even when you hit me hard, to keep going all the time and keep coming and keep proving to people that, hey, this is how strong I am.
Yeah,
So it really helps to keep pressing all the time.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that, man. Going back to the roots of boxing
Yeah.
in All Boys Town gym, for example, do you think the program has grown since you started? And then, even depending on yes or no, what else in addition to that? How do you think the youngsters today have it different from how you had it?
Well, I think they got it much more easier because, like back in my time, it was really hard, I mean, you train for months and then you don't get to travel. Like we were on the national team and then something come up. We didn't get as much sponsorship as we, needed to send a 8-man team, a full team to compete in the games that we were going to. So you're training 1 month on the national team and then happens to hear that, hey, we leave on Tuesday. And Thursday morning you hear, and Monday morning you hear, oh guys, or in the afternoon when you finish training, everyone has their passport waiting to go, and then the president walked in and said, hey, we don't have enough funds. We didn't raise that money. But it never made me crumble. Because I didn't lose. I gained more strength. I learned. And like I said, that was a hit from outside of the ring. I didn't fight, but I know how to take it. And I said, you know what? This is going to motivate me to go even harder. So we had times like that. So now, this new generation is getting a chance to travel more often and getting to get a lot of things. I mean, look at the country's development. So it's going to be much more easy. The government is involved in sports and yeah.
So even where you are now, you think there's more support?
Yeah, there are. There is. Like, that's why when we were talking about those stories, if you notice, I mentioned at that time, when things was like, real rough.
Yeah.
But now, I get a lot of sponsorship. I get support from this, from His Excellency, from Office of the President, and the Ministry of Culture, Youth, and Sport. So I'm brand ambassador for these companies right here.
Oh, nice.
So I'm getting those support, and it actually helped. When these companies come aboard, because you can get to focus more, you can get to train more hard, you can make excuses. You understand? Which a lot of people tend to say that you're making excuses when you're in the hole, and they don't understand because they're not from the same place.
Yeah.
You know, they can't relate to what's going on, so they tends to put it as excuses when you can't show up at times.
Yeah.
But they don't know what you have to deal with. You understand?
Do you get a lot of criticism from where does criticism come from in boxing?
I mean, I like I I only had one incident that happened with me, but like you find that from normal boxers, people talk like that. But otherwise, or sometimes you find coaches will talk a lot of crap. But like it doesn't bothers me because they talk everything about God and they did all kind of things to him, so it doesn't bother me. I don't care what people talk. You know,
Yeah.
once you don't hit me, I'm okay.
Do you think the media has been good to you over your career so far?
I mean, we had ups and downs, you know, but I mean, that's how life is go. One thing I learned, you know, is that when you get in fight, when you get in, when things are not going the way that you wanted, when people are going against you, I always rejoice in that moment. It's going to sound crazy because that's when I know God is working.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't get fight, then the devil is in control of you. If everything is going okay with you, check yourself. Take this from me. You understand? You know.
You really got nothing to work towards.
Yeah, no, it's not just that you don't get nothing to work towards, but if everything is going smooth in your life and you're not getting trouble, you're not being stressed out, and you know, and you're not getting fights and people talking bad things and all these things, you're not going anywhere. So when all these things are coming against you and all the fights and all the distraction and all the people trying to condemn you or trying to judge you, know that you're going somewhere.
Yeah.
And you're going to a good place, and only champions get fights. And
Yeah.
I love fights, and that's what they fail to realize, that, you know, when they bring this, like, I can't cramp, I can't back down, I can't pull out, you know. So I actually rejoice in those moments because I know God is going to do something new. He's taking me somewhere, so challenges will come, you know. But for me, when it's time to talk, I'll talk, you know.
Yeah.
But I use myself as a model, you know, and try to, you know, teach the younger fighter that is coming under me, you know, how to go about it. You know, don't be ignorant about certain things and be smart. And not everyone that smiles with you, even though they say that they're good to you, they're not good. You know, this is just life, man. You understand? You're gonna find things like this. I mean, I don't. Excuse me. Most people give motivational speech, right? Which I can do because I face a lot of struggle, you know, and I am a fighter from where I came from to now, and I'm actually grateful to God for this, you know, position that I'm in, because I'm super wealthy at the moment, you know, because I'm here, you know, I'm in the land of the living, you know, I have life and health, and so that's richness to me, you know, that's wealth, you know. I mean, I know a lot of people that are wealthy and are so sick, you know, but I pray for them, you know. But I always said to myself, God, I always say to God, I don't want to go in that position. I made some serious oath to God, you know. I said, if you know that you're going to bless me and I'm going to go away from you, don't give me it. I'd rather be like a poor man on the street where when I get sick, I can call and you can heal me, because your money can't.
Yeah.
You can get the best doctors in the world. I know this. You know, and God has shown up in my life many times, and all the times, and He never stopped, and He never will. You know, because that's His promise. You know, so it's. I mean, I try to. Everyone has a mind of their own. Excuse me. Everyone have a mind of their own. The most I can do is give advice. It's up to you to think it.
Yeah.
You know.
I want to talk about what your sort of day to day looks like. We briefly spoke about this before we started, but
Yeah.
and you'd mentioned it when we started. How rigorous is the training to do this? You said you mentioned your first session is at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Why? I know cyclists get up early in the morning to ride because it's when the road's clear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're doing road work or so, I'm sure that makes sense to you. But like, you train 3 times a day, starting at 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what else are you doing? How brutal is that?
It's.
Or is it just I just got to get this done,
Yeah.
regardless?
I mean, once you love it, like I said, it's not going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be a problem to you once you love it. And It helps because when people sleep in your training and the road is clear and then they hear, especially if you're running on the road, remember the car, the fume, that kind of affects you too, So it's better. You get to focus more. It's just you and God or coach beside you. And it really helps. And then when you got to train back in the afternoon, you get to go into the gym with a bunch of young fighters that are, trying their best to become someone. I'll tell you something just now. I actually just think about it. But yeah, and then going back, I actually go in space on my own. So that helps me to get stronger, to do extra work. Even if even when, I go back and hit back again.
Yeah.
So if I'm shadowboxing in the gym, we do 15 minutes warm up in the afternoon. Then we're going to do shadowboxing. We do school combat. Then we go into sparring. Then we're going to hit back. Some days we do pads, like 2 times per week.
When you're doing sparring, sorry to cut you. When you're doing sparring, how hard are you going in that?
Well, it depends. If we're far away from the tournament, we get on Sundays, like tomorrow, we can do open up sparring, whereby we go free and you can do whatever you want.
Do people like go for blood or?
Yeah, man. They try to knock you hard. But I mean, I often fight with my brains now and not just with my strength.
Yeah. Okay.
I learned that from Floyd.
Yeah.
So yeah. And when I finish in the afternoon doing that, I go at the gym in the night and I'll do that back again. It's just that I wouldn't get to do pad or spar. But I'll warm up again. I'll shadow box again. I'll run again. I'll do abs again. I'll hit the bag again. I'll do weights again. You understand? All of that. And then you got to wake up in the morning and do it again. So sometimes you feel like you don't want to do it, but like when you think back about it, when sometimes the odds are against you, and I fight so that people can hear my voice and understand, you see your intentions is very important, because I said it's the most youngsters in Albaistang when they're talking about problem and stuff. And I heard one of them said, like you were talking to the next guy and saying, you're going to see when I get a little money, or some people will see when I get money. Now your intentions is that when God bless you with a lot of money, you're going to kill a lot of people or hurt a lot of people. He's never going to bless you because you're not going to do something good. So my intentions is always that God, don't just bless me for my family, but bless me for a nation. You understand? So he knows my intention is to help the poor, is to give back and build gyms and do all these stuff, so that someone else can see and say, hey, I want to do what Allicock do. I don't want to be like him, but I want to do what he did or even better. You understand? So, my intentions is to always to get rich. This is why I'm fighting. It's not because I want to drive a Lexus. I can walk the streets because I'm accustomed walking the streets. And it's a blessing for me that I was born and raised in the ghetto. I will say this raw, right? The name is Albaistang, but you call places like that ghetto, right? The reason why I say it's a blessing for me because it teaches me how to appreciate everything, small to big, and how to be grateful with what God blessed me with. So if I get rich and I go poor, I'm still happy. You understand? A rich guy get poor, he's going to turn to drugs because he's accustomed to living that life. You understand? So in the future, God is going to bless me with so much wealth, and it still won't make me a changed person. It still won't make me feel like, my chest is too big and, I can go where the people is because I was born and raised there.
Yeah.
I can get my skin nasty again. So for me, right? Why I say it was a blessing. It is a blessing for me because all the thing, even to the time when we didn't have food and we were struggling and many days that you can't eat when you came home from school and you just gotta, take what you got. Like your mom would be home washing clothes and I'd be like, Mom, I come home for lunch and no food is cooked. Oh boy, you gotta go back. You gotta drink some sugar water or something. This is true story. A lot of people don't know. And there's many people that can testify again, on behalf of this. And I never see what other people have and want it. I never see what other people live in a better life than me and want it. No. All of that, even though it was, many people probably pass because it happened to me and see kids and playing and they're in a state, they're not wearing clothes and stuff like this and they don't have much. And said, oh, well, look how he there, but you doesn't know how he, you don't know what's going on in the house. Instead, you help him, you talk, hey, look how he's on the road and his parents probably doesn't even care. But if the parents got money to care for him, like, come on. If you see something like that, this is what I learned. If someone come and tell me something about someone that is passing or someone that doesn't have it, I say, God, may you provide for that person. You understand? If I can't help them, you can. Yeah, I'm not in the position, but you can. You are. You understand?
I know a lot of the struggles of where you come from or what you've gone through are directly, play a big role in your motivation in this sport.
True.
But just as a Guyanese, like you look at it, let's use All Boys Town as an example. How can young kids have a better future, both within and outside of boxing? What would it take to help a community like that move forward and get more opportunity? How do we approach that as a society, in your opinion?
Okay, so I'm always neutral. I'm never going to be one-sided. So now, most of the youths, I think, I know is making a lot of excuses.
Okay.
That they don't have jobs now. You understand? You can get a job now, just that you don't want to work. But like I said, there's a lot of jobs that they can go and get. Most of them, it's not born and raised in a wealthy home, but they don't have as much as it takes to go to UG and all these things. The family doesn't have that type of money. But many companies, different places, different companies could get involved and start different programs. Try to snatch them when they're small, while they're small. To change the way that they think. You understand? I wanna get a little more deep into this. A lot of parents has a lot to do with their kids too. Let's not be one-sided. Let's not just talk about how different companies or the government could get involved and change lives. But it starts from home. Like I said, I was born I witness everything. Ain't no story that anyone could come and tell me about that I don't know about. I don't care. You can be the baddest guy. I know about all the bad guys, that are not here. You understand? So there's no stories that you can come and tell me that I will be surprised about when I hear on the news and stuff like that. Any part of the world. The only thing I never experienced is, our country and fighting against the next country. We never experienced that. But in terms of life, most worst lessons I've saw it. I've been around it. I've dwelled around it. So, it starts from home. To all the parents, you got to know how to discipline your kids. You understand? And you got to know how to teach them and teach them the right thing. And so that they can grow up to be a good person. Because remember, they're under your wings. It's very, very important for parents to know this. Don't give them, things that it's going to damage them in the future. Train them the right way, And, the government are doing, so far, a good job, I can say, because, there is so much jobs. There is programs that they can go. Wise doing, learning a skill, right? They can get a fee for that. They can get like a stipend. So, there are many companies can come in and like do libraries and give back books and stuff like these things. It's different from then to now. It's not like before. You understand? We can't polish that. It's different. It's not. They're not going through the same struggle as before. But a lot of gyms getting involved in sports. Opening different gyms in these community will help. You understand? Yeah. Getting involved, being getting mentor. mentors to come in there, for the youths. You can talk to them. A lot of people are not strong like I am. They go through depression and, they give up very easily. You understand? They feel like the wrong thing is the right thing too. So, they need that kind of help whereby people can come, talk to them, start a program, trying to change the way that they think and,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I
Well,
think a lot of that will help.
a lot of it has to be
Yeah.
met halfway
Yeah.
by the community
Yeah.
itself
Yeah.
who wants that change.
True.
Yeah.
It's a self thing too.
Yeah.
Because I can come and give you as much advice as I want. I saw people open different schools to help people, and I went there. I've contributed my time to talk to them. As a young fighter coming up, and look where God and all these things in my career and being disciplined got me so far, and da da da. But most of them that went to the school, I don't know where they are at the moment. They either doing something bad or I'm telling you, because the school is not open. The program is down.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people used to donate things, giving them back books if they got to get bags to go to school. They get all these things.
Yeah.
So that's what I want the youngsters them to know, that they can do it on their own.
Yeah.
It will take a lot of hard hits. It will take a lot of people to talk about you. Don't try to fit in where you're not.
Yeah.
Where you can't. You don't try to put yourself in a position, and this is one of the problems that we've been getting with most of the young people now. They kind of like follow pattern. They don't have a mind of their own.
Mm.
They don't have a mind of their own. They do things that they see people do.
Yeah. It's a tough thing to get out of, especially when it's like constantly in your face through these like superficial things
true.
you see online, especially. But I think ultimately what I'm getting at, and I agree with you, is that there needs to be some level of self accountability within, because at the end of the day, your circumstance, while it might be affected by external factors, the majority of it comes from here. So if you can't take responsibility for that in some degree in the fundamentals, then what are we really doing?
No.
Like fascinating. Thank you for sharing that, by the way. I know that's a very personal thing.
Because
and I
most
appreciate
people, like I said, I'm always neutral. Most people tends to feel, or they would talk a lot and said, "Oh, this is the people. You're not getting help and support from the government. You're not this. You're not that." But you can't expect the government to come clean your yard.
it. Yeah,
You understand?
100%.
So you gotta clean up.
Yeah. One thing I want to talk about before we end is, I need to know, like, we need to talk boxing. So I gotta ask you, who's like one of your, and you're still very young, so I'm sure you do a lot of analysis and stuff like that. First question is, who are some of the people that have inspired you growing up, like local boxers? I mean, I'm sure you've been around a couple or seen a couple growing up. Is there anyone that you can say that, oh, he's done some, or she even has done some good things, and maybe this is kind of what motivated me to take it to the next level or something like that?
Well, actually, many people did. Many local fighters. As a kid going to the box, because my dad always take me to the boxing, and he has this way of discipline in me when I was small. If we come to watch boxing, you don't go kicking bottles. So I had to sit and focus on boxing.
Yeah.
I saw Elton Dari fight too, and all these guys, and I saw the crowd and everyone running, and I said, "Wow, this is gonna be crazy when I get big," And Dexter Marks is a good fighter too. He's a professional fighter. Well, I always, as a kid, everyone know about Six Ed, Andrew Lewis, and he becoming the first world champion for Guyana. I said, I want to do it, but I want to do it bigger and better. You understand? And then I started watching it. This guy loved training. He had good skill, good power, good speed. What was it made he lose everything? Because that's how I learned. I understand all the good parts, but what was he lacking? You understand? And then I find it out, and I said, okay, this is it. He didn't have a strong team. They didn't have the same vision.
Yeah.
You understand? One of the most important thing, I didn't think that he was you know, close to God, and I was humbleness is a very important thing. You know, when you're humble, I think that was one of the things that, you know, when the money comes so fast that you're not accustomed to, it kind of blow your brains. You know?
Yeah.
And it's not. I'm not talking bad, but this is how I learn. I learned from the best.
For sure.
You know,
yeah.
so I looked at him. He's a good fighter. He has good speed. My brothers, them are very skillful fighters. So I come up most of my life looking at all of them, like very skillful at that time. My dad never had me to be a boxer, you know.
Really?
Like I was like, all right, he's gonna try to do boxing, but he's not gonna be a boxer, and that's what helped me. Because my brother, like some of them went to Puerto Rico, India, they fight, they represent Guyana many times, and so my dad would like, he's not gonna do it, and that's one of the things that helped me, because I always wanted, I always said, you know what, I gotta show this man that I'm the best here, boy.
Yeah.
So it helped me, and I always pray, but it never happened to me. It's so sad to say that my dad's dream was to see one of his kids fight at the Olympic Games. Always say this. And my goal was to do that. And my dad passed away like 2 weeks, couple days before I go to the Olympic Games. Wow. And that was it for me. That affected me so bad. I went to Russia. I was hit in the back crying. I couldn't train properly. I spent 1 month training. And then I flew to Tokyo, Japan to fight. But that was my dream, to just see that, he always wanted one of his kids to fight at the Olympic Games, but he never lived to see that. And that's one of the things. But it helps me to get stronger,
Yeah.
because, at that time, God was preparing me to take over, showing me many times because he had a policy whereby when we were praying in the night, he would kneel in front and the rest of us would be behind kneeling. He lead as a father. And at times when I start praying, I start going in front, and he's behind. So all of that made me think the day when I saw him lying in the casket that, hey, God was really preparing me for this moment. And I mean, we all will go through this at some point in time, or, many people have experienced it before. But for me, like, I always live with it in my heart because he loved boxing. He he taught me about the sport of boxing, everything, the movements, and he would always show up in the gym when I'm training. And that was one of my motivation,
It's a big thing.
So
for
when my dad passed away, I start hitting the bag. I kind of think he was there all the time,
Mm-hmm.
When I'm fighting home, it always catch me. He has this thing that he used to do. He would stand outside of the ring, away from everyone, and you have to perform. So the pressure used to make me fight skillfully, even though when you never had conditions. So, you just have to fight, because he would come into the arena and said, this is my children. We have the best fighter.
Yeah.
I have the best fighters. You understand? They came from me. So it actually helps.
Yeah.
And when that happened, it kind of shook me up, but I got it back and I keep going.
Yeah. Well, you're doing fantastic now.
Yeah.
And so and then obviously you're watching, boxing is pretty big right now.
Yeah, it is. It's making a lot of money.
Yeah, tons of money.
Yeah.
It's crazy actually, but it's hit some levels where, the sort of the hype behind it and the business involved is so huge, and I think that's what drives it.
Yeah.
Actually, as a matter of fact, a year and a half ago, my wife and I were in Vegas, and we were outside T-Mobile and MGM, and I was like, oh wow, I would give a leg to just go in there and see like a big fight,
Yeah.
Like my dream before he retires is to watch Canelo fight. Like I tell my wife, like, I think if Venezuela invade Guyana, I don't know what I would do, but I swear to God, I feel like if Canelo Alvarez came and told me we gotta go to war for Mexico, I'd follow him. Because every time I see this man perform, I'm like so inspired. There's something about him, like
he's crafty. He's a good fighter.
He's good, and it's just like an icon for Mexico and the sport right now. He's the face of boxing, I would say. But who do you look up to on like the pro circuit? I mean, like there's so many.
He's not
good guys.
I don't think I saw they want him to fight Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. I think I'll be talking about Manny Pacquiao. I love this guy. Since I'm a kid, I always look at him. one of the reasons why he's so humble and he's grounded in God.
Yeah.
You know, and he fights for his people.
Yeah.
You know, he built 100 houses when he fought Floyd Mayweather. And I want to do bigger than that with the help of God.
Yeah.
And that's what's, you know, one of the things that motivates me too. I always look, I like his style of fighting, you know. He's a guy that you, like I said, you can't sit down. You gotta, you know, when he's there, you know, he
He's
gives
on
you
you.
something. Yeah, he's always, this guy has two hands like lightning, you know, it's always striking. So he's one of the guys that I look up to, but there's a lot of young fighters like Tank and Shakur Stevenson. He's another good fighter. Yeah,
I
he's
love
crafty.
that guy.
Crawford, very good
Crawford's good, yeah.
fighter too. You know, very crafty.
I really like I know a lot of people kind of think him because he's not a big like hard hitter, but I think he's so skilled. I think Devin Haney, man, it's just like
he's a good fighter too.
he fights more on the outside.
Yeah,
He's long,
yeah.
but it's just does it kind of that's like pure boxing, you know, to me at least. Like it's just like you look at that and it's poetry in motion.
Yeah,
but it's crafty. I think like just some of these guys are, you know, I get frustrated with the sport sometimes because I feel like they hold up the big fights for the money, which I understand is a business and it's limited and you got to capitalize.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I thought it was so, even though it finally happened, I was really disappointed that the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight happened that late. You know, to me,
Yeah, that was it. I
it
think
was
I
a
think
disappointment to the sport to me.
I think you know, I know Floyd was probably trying to dodge him in this early age because he was fired that time, boy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that he would have get such a easy fight. And actually, Pacquiao fought with an injured shoulder. You know that?
Yeah, I heard about
Yeah.
that.
So I think his manager gets sued or something like that. You said something earlier. I want to talk about. One day in the future, you go to Madison Square Garden and see me fight for a world title.
That's what you want to fight?
Yeah. Or even if we can bring it home.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. But you will see me fight for a world title. And I'm going to give you the opportunity. I'm going to call you in the ring and say, Coach,
100%.
I know you're going to like that. So
100%.
yeah, but I need the fights. Listen, I'm a people's guy. I fight for the people. Remember this. When I go out there to fight, it's for 83,000 square mile and the people within it. I don't just fight for myself. You know, and anywhere I go and everywhere I go, I will always carry that flag because I love it.
Yeah.
If you listen to all my interviews from since I'm a kid, that flag, I will fly it the highest. And then the generation after will do the same. You know? So, you know, Six Hat did a good thing. And you know, I'm grateful for that because, you know, he opened a door to show that we have talent here. So we can't just look at the bad side.
Yeah.
You understand? He did a really good things. You know, the eyes came on Guyana for the first time when that happened. And, you know, shows that we have good fighters here. It just takes, you know, the help and the support of the people, you know, to help to bring that skill out, you know, because you can't just train and you don't have everything. It doesn't work, sir. It goes on and on, you know. So, yeah. I want to say something. This is for, like, you know, the athletes and those that are chasing after their dreams. You know, everyone say that, right? It's good to chase after your dreams. You think so?
Absolutely.
Chase after your goals?
100%.
100%, but I don't think so.
Why?
Let's have a drink. Because when you're chasing something, it tends to go away from you. If I tell you to chase the dog or chase any puppy, it's going to run away from you because you're chasing it. But if you become that things that attract what you want, if you become that things that attract that thing, you know, it's better for you. You don't have to run after anything. You're going to take a long time catching up with it because it's moving. It's an object that you're moving. You're chasing something. You understand? You ever had to play with two magnets?
Mm-hmm.
So when you turn the magnets on the opposite side, it kind of push away the other one, right? But if you turn it back on the right side, it pull it together. You understand? So when you become that person that attract this thing, you know, your goals, instead of running after it, it can come to you. Means that you got to dress a certain way. You got to carry yourself a certain way. You got to train hard. You understand? You got to become that person first in your mind. You got to become a world champion in your mind. You got to become the best in your mind. And you can't just, because remember, like, for instance, I read the Bible a lot. It says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So if you think like a loser, you're going to lose. You're going to feel like a loser. If you think that you can't do anything, you can't move from the spot. You understand? So when you start thinking like that, you start attracting these things, because what you think about, the thoughts that you put out, that's what you receive. If you think, hey, I'm not gonna lose, I'm too nervous for this game, for my tournament, you that's what you're gonna do. That's what you're attracting. Fear and all these things are gonna come. Believe what I'm telling you. This most of the athletes can tell you this. In the sport of boxing, I don't fear. I don't fear. There. Why would I fear and I have to go inside of the ring and fight the man? He's not a machine. You understand? He's a human being like me. He got two pair of hands like me. He cuffs like me. He moves like me. You understand? The difference is he probably have a little more power than me. It doesn't mean that he can knock me out. Because you got to find a spot to knock me out. And if I know that you're so strong, I'm not going to give you the opportunity to do that. You got to find it. But you're going to get a hard time finding that thing. So like for me, you got to think as a champion. You know, the way that you think, you're going to attract these things to you. You got to be rich here. You can't say, hey, when I reach at the age of 30, I'm going to be rich. You're not sure about living at the age of 30. What are you talking about? You understand? And that's it. You know, most people think, you know, very small. How will it hurt you to think to be a rich person? It's just a thought. It's just you thinking. You understand? Just like how you're thinking, oh boy, I'm only gonna get $10 million, or you know, my goal is to buy a car that worth or a BMW that is $4 million. That's your goal. So why you can't buy a Land Rover? If you think about that, you can get it. Is it so hard to think? You don't have to pay a price to think, because you're thinking to buy something that is cheap. You understand? You can think to buy something that is expensive, and maybe you're gonna get it, because this is what you're attracting to yourself. You understand? So it has a lot to do with your thinking. As a man thinketh, so is he. So if you think like a champion, you'll become a champion. And then you apply those things that is necessary. Your training, your hard work, you're late, you know, you're staying up late at night to study, you know? But you're thinking, hey, this is who I am. I am that person before I become it. Mm-hmm. You understand? You have to be that person. You have to feel like a champ before you become a champion.
I love that.
Yeah.
And on that note, thank you so much for you know, this whole conversation, Keevin. This has been, like, for me, amazing. I'm a huge fan, like I said.
Thanks, man.
I think all the things you touched on really will resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah.
The fact that you're so willing to come here and share it is amazing. And you know, I wish you nothing but the best in the future. And by the way, I will be there in 3 months at your debut.
Don't worry. I'll call you. I'll make sure I ring down your phone.
Good.
I'm glad I know where you live. So
yeah, you can show up at my gate to tell me it's tomorrow.
Let's go to the boxing.
Hey, my brother, I wish you nothing but the best. And thank you so much for being here. And I hope when you, after you make your debut and eventually when you get your world title, we come back here again and we do this again.
Yeah, no problem. And I'd be honored to come again. You know, I'm sitting with the legend himself. So remember, everyone is a champion. Don't get it twisted. You know?
No doubt.
Yeah, you remember, the things that we achieve doesn't make you a champion. Many people are a champion, but they don't get the attention of the camera. You understand? So those that are fighting the good fight, you know, those that are surviving cancer and going through their own things in life, they are champions too. You know, you don't have to win a belt or being recognized, because I know, like I said, you have to be a champion before, you understand, you get to that point. So, you know, there's so much families and so much people that are going through a tough time. I want to tell you to hang in there, because, you know, there are so much people that are dependent on you guys. You know, sometimes when you feel like to quit, don't quit. Think about the people that need you. Think about your family, your loved ones, you know. And I want to say something quickly to my young people. Just focus a little bit more, you know. And I think this is kind of what's distracting a lot of the young people, you know. You know, they're not focusing. Um, put it down for a little bit, you know, and focus more on God, and you'll find your purpose. You'll find why you're here. You know, you'll know the truth. You know, don't give up. Like I said, become that person that attracts, and don't chase. You know, if you chase everything and everyone will go away from you. You know how to carry yourself. Always be a leader. Don't follow anyone. That's what I do. That's why I'm here. Maybe funny, but I don't have a lot of friends. My friends is my brothers and my sister. You understand? And just try to hang in there. You know, it's going to be tough. You're going to have tough days. You're going to have tough nights, but hang in there. Keep fighting. We all are fighters, you know. Not just, you don't have to be a boxer to be a fighter, because most of us are fighting life and fighting to provide for our families. So it's all a fight. Just that I'm getting hurt, you know, physically, but I'm doing it for you guys. I'm doing it for the people that doesn't have, you know. That time and that day will come where we will get to rejoice, and you know, and you'll see the real Keevin Alicock, you know, one day when God put everything in place. So I want to say thank you, brother. You know, it's an honor to be here with you, you know, to share this space. And, you know, many people don't know this, but there is someone behind the screen. What is her name?
Vicky.
Vicky. I want to say thank you, you know. You know, I recognize your presence because a lot of people, it happens, you know, people don't know who's behind the scene. And you have an amazing brother here, you know, and everything will be okay, man. Let's not worry, you know, just don't take it on, just one step at a time. You know, make the most important thing, your family. God first and your family. You know, you can drive the latest car and all these things, but focus more on your family. You understand? Find time for your family. You know, that's all you got. Don't wait till someone died and you come and talk all the things that you wish you could do. You know, get it right now, you know. Sometimes you need you need to make a drastic change, you know. You can't wait and say, hey, it's going to take me 5 years to stop doing this, you know. You know, just make a drastic change and try to look into your family a little bit more, spend more time. You know, go tell them, you know, if you have a problem with your brother and sisters, go, hey, I'm sorry. Because, you know, if that person go, it's going to be hard for you, you know. So get yourself together, you know. The devil is getting much more powerful, and he's destroying the world daily, and he's after the young souls, you know. You know, remember, don't not follow. Just be a leader. Put God first. Trust in him. He will help you. This is easy for him. Just like how you can ask him to provide for you, you can ask him to change your life and make you a good person. Thank you, brother. God bless you all.